Today's video is sponsored by boxing. And today's video is also sponsored by that fist. Enjoy the review. Creed 3 is the 9th film in the Rocky and Creed franchise and is Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut. It was released earlier this month, and as a massive Rocky Balboa fan, I was highly anticipating this film. If you haven't seen Creed 3 yet and want to avoid spoilers, I'll have a time code on screen warning you for when I enter spoilers. I know I'm late to this film review. I'm getting them out slowly as I can. Slowly as I can? I don't know. I'm getting them out as quick as I can, would be a better word for it. Creed 3 is now, and then Scream 6 is next, Shazam! Fury of the Gods, and then Inside. I'm also going to review that film. So, yeah, let's get into it. So in this film, we get to see Adonis Creed at the pinnacle of his life. He's retired from boxing, sure, but he has an amazing and hard-working wife, and is raising his daughter, who is aspiring to become a fighter just like her dad, despite being deaf. It's been made pretty clear that Sylvester Stallone does not return for this film as Rocky Balboa, and to be honest, even though I miss the guy and I love Stallone, he wouldn't fit in this story anyway. So, long story short, Damien, a friend of Adonis' past, returns after 18 years of being in jail due to something that happens between both of them as kids. Adonis gives Damien a shot similar to how Apollo gave Rocky a shot in the original film, only this time things go awry when Damien turns out to be one of the most blunt opponents yet. Drama goes down. I can't say too much without entering spoilers, but just know something happens that puts Adonis and Damien at odds. I think Creed 3's biggest strength here, outside of the performances, because Jonathan Majors and Michael B. Jordan are phenomenal here, is the cinematography. It's absolutely incredible. The way the final fight in particular is shot has such a unique style from anything we've ever seen in this franchise. I really, really, really like that. Even 9 films in, they still find a way to make these fights just as thrilling and engaging as the first time around. One of my complaints that I would have with this film is that while I really enjoy Damien as an antagonist, and like I said, Jonathan Majors is really great, I feel we just don't get enough information on the backstory between Adonis and Damien. You get bits and pieces of an explanation for why Damien was locked up throughout the film, and that's pretty much all you get. They actually set up Damien like he might be one of those antagonists that's too far gone and won't be redeemed like Clubber Lang, Ivan Drago, of course. They just kind of fought Rocky and that was it. He beat them. Instead, the film goes full, almost cartoony bad guy with him. They make him like a legit unlikable guy, but in the third act they do something questionable with him. I'll get to that in the spoiler section. There is also an unnecessary moment towards about the end of the second act of the film. You can tell why it's there, and it definitely rings back to certain other themes in the Rocky franchise, but despite the emotion I felt while watching that scene, I saw it coming just because of the way these films go sometimes. Again, I'll get to that in a bit. Outside of that, there is still a lot to enjoy with this film. I am honestly going to give props to Michael B. Jordan. His directing here is really solid. I can't wait for his directing in the future, because I think he did a really great job here. As for our rating, I'm going to give Creed 3 an 8 out of 10. I know that's been a very common rating here lately. 2023 has just been a pretty good year so far for films. Except for Blood and Honey, of course. So yeah, an 8 out of 10, solid film. I have my complaints, but still, I love the Rocky franchise, and this is a great entry. Entering spoilers, I mentioned that Damien is made out to be a pretty bad guy, but the film isn't 100% sure if he is or not. We find out through the flashbacks that Adonis bumps into a man who is abusive towards him as a kid, and starts to beat him senselessly. Damien pulls out a gun, but before anything big goes down, the police show up and Adonis runs away. Damien gets locked up, and although he sends Adonis letters over the years, his mom never gave them to him. Even with that knowledge in mind, Adonis surely knew where Damien was, but never made any attempt to connect or talk with him at all for 18 years. This is what fuels Damien to meet back up with Adonis, take advantage of his generosity, get one of his prison friends to assault Victor Drago. Then Damien stands in for Drago and he wins the heavyweight title. Once Adonis realizes how Damien has used him, this is what makes him decide he wants to fight him. To put the past behind him, now you can see how the film goes back and forth with what kind of character they want Damien to be. One moment he's a guy whose friend ran out on him and didn't contact him for 18 years. They're kind of making him out to be a sympathetic villain. Then he's threatening Adonis. He's acting like a complete jerk. He tries to get in Bianca's head because she's talking about how she feels kind of lost, I guess, because she originally wanted to be a artist, of course, and now she's kind of moving more into the producer stage, which isn't touched on a lot in the film, surprisingly. They bring it up, but it's never really resolved at the end. And Damien overall is made into a deeply intimidating figure, although the efforts to kind of make him feel like he was going to be sympathetic. Because I did feel sympathetic towards Damien, and honestly, if it wasn't for, the threatening and everything, I would have been more sympathetic. I still ended up, the film, at the end of the film, I'm still kind of, I'm not rooting for Damien, because I don't want to see Adonis lose, but Damien is rightfully pissed at Adonis. I mean, it's understandable. After the fight, okay, because Adonis, you can guess, defeats Damien, and wins back the heavyweight title. After the fight, you get a scene where Damien and Adonis talk, and it's a very quiet, not tense, I guess, but emotional, I guess, type scene it's supposed to be. And Adonis apologizes for not being in Damien's life all of those years when he needed him most, and, for running out on him. And then Damien just says, "It's not your fault." Except it was. Why did you fight him if you thought that whole time that it wasn't his fault? Oh well. The other thing I mentioned that was unnecessary was they kill off Adonis's mother. That's right, Apollo Creed's wife, an OG Rocky character, dies in this film. In Rocky 3 we lose Mickey, in this one we lose Creed's mom. It's very, I know that's different because one is a trainer and one is a family member, but it is it's trying to mirror the Rocky films. I predicted it because that's just how these films go. Like I said, they typically build the character up with this death. They use that to drive them further. But in this case, Mickey dying in Rocky 3, it propels Rocky to fight Clubber Lang because, Clubber Lang did push Mickey, and Mickey wanted Rocky really to win and beat Clubber Lang, so that's what pushes him. In Rocky 4, Ivan Drago kills Apollo Creed, so that drives Rocky to go and fight and beat Ivan Drago in that film. Here, we just kind of have Damien threatening Adonis. He doesn't say anything about his mom, or he's a shame. His mom should be ashamed of him or anything. He doesn't do anything that would make the death of Adonis's mom propel the plot forward and make Adonis want to fight Damien more, because I don't know, it just doesn't do that. The way Adonis even accepts the fight between Damien is kind of lackluster because it's over a TV show. Damien calls in on an interview that Adonis is doing and proposes the fight, and they both accept. I wanted more of that tense face-off between them, and I wanted more of their past, if that makes sense. If you've seen the film, you know. Of course you've seen the film because you're watching the spoiler section, but you get what I'm saying. I got emotional during the death of Apollo's wife, because she's kind of out of it in this moment, and she thinks she's talking to Apollo as she's slowly, dying. I got emotional, I loved Apollo Creed. He was a great character. Rocky IV is one of my favorites in the franchise, and losing him heavily weighs into the journey that Rocky goes on in that film, and I love that. It doesn't take away from the fact that, this was included, obviously, to have something to knock Adonis down a couple pegs that maybe wasn't meant to drive the plot forward. It's just meant to knock Adonis down. but it still felt pretty unnecessary. But yeah, we really didn't need that, because you have Damien, oppressing against Adonis, and this is Adonis's friend. That's enough trauma, or the past is haunting him. That's enough to bring him down, if you ask me, without killing off his mom. But nonetheless, Creed 3 is still a great entry into the franchise. There's a lot to love here, especially with the cinematography. If you want to see a video where I rank all of the Rocky films, then let me know down in the comments below. Leave a like on the video. I hope you enjoyed the review. Let me know also what you thought of Creed 3 in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, and goodbye.